Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual cognitive behavior psychotherapist specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage counseling using the EFT method, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and also provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one session in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMV Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found at lifecoachdanamsalak.com. Today, I'm very excited to have for our 9th episode of Season 12, a special guest and entrepreneur, Hibby Bartlett, founder of World Love Bank. And just like every of my past episodes, I will leave it up to the guests to properly introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Hibby, the floor is yours.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. My name is Hibby. I am the founder of the World Love Bank, and the World Love Bank is a bank that saves our most valuable asset, which is love. And I do believe that it's something that creates emotional wealth and security and helps people to support themselves and their families with the thing that costs nothing but provides the most wealth in our lives. Okay. And that's it.
Well, that's a good summary. So tell me, what is the purpose? I mean, have you seen a lot of love in our society for you to be able to determine, okay, this is something that we need?
Have I seen a lot of love in our society?
Lack of love.
Lack of.
Yes.
Well, I think I see a lot of love in our society, but the lack of connection for people to access love. I think there's a lot of disconnection. And it's funny because society is supposed to be so much more connected now with the tools we have using, apps and different things like that. But I feel that there's so much more fear in this world today and disconnections. So you're right, I do see a lack of love access, and I want to bring that connection back, and I want it to be easy for people, and I want to promote the fact that the world is a loving place. It's just that every person desires that the world should be a loving place, or they have the love, but they just don't know how to give it, or they don't know how to receive it, and I wanted to make that connection easier.
So basically, it's filling or building the bridge between how people express their love towards each other and how they receive it. Because obviously, we have seen a massive disconnect, as you mentioned, in our society because of racism, because of who is vaccinated with COVID virus, whatever it is. And that in itself created that split. And I'm not sure if it was a way for political purpose, that they want us to be separated in some way or another. So because unity comes with power, and the thing is that when we do not have that unity and everyone is always fearing the other person to come and backstab them, and that creates that kind of like animosity between people, in which in return does not really result with a lot of love towards each other. But so this love, is it between couples necessarily, or just between you and your neighbor, between you and your, I mean, love is such a broad term. What does it specify on?
It's well, okay. So the World Love Bank, its focus is audio love. That, again, as you said, the world has been facing racism and COVID and disconnection. So how it works is the power of the words "I love you," the vibration of someone giving that to you, has a healing effect, I believe. And so what we do is we allow anyone and everyone who wants to join the World Love Bank to join the audio, the app, and they must leave an audio "I love you" into the audio bank of the World Love Bank, and it goes in anonymously. The only thing it will track is the country you come from. So What happens is so when we join the World Love Bank, that now gives you access to your 3 free accounts, but you hear in the joint account, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And these are all voices from around the world that have wanted to share their I love you with you. And so one, you're no longer bankrupt. 2, if you're not hearing I love you in your physical world with your friends or family, or just, you're not seeing it from wherever you're exposed to in your life, you can hear genuine people saying it. However, you're not looking at them. So you're not judging them on their color, their race, their perceived wealth or lack thereof, age, gender. It's just some other human being wanting to share love. And that's where it starts. So to get love, you have to give love. Mm-hmm. And again, in society, some people just haven't had an opportunity in their life to hear it very often. So there is a little, I want to inspire people to trust that the sound of someone else's voice can boost their day and make them feel a bit better, and to engage them into that reconnection. Because if you hear it and you feel it, it's so much easier to recognize it and to share it with others. And that's just where it starts.
Absolutely. And, I think this is a great movement that you have, because a lot of people don't hear the I love you enough. Even couples from each other, they disconnected somehow during this isolation period that we had during COVID, that really didn't that allow them to see their partners in their true colors. And that in itself created some kind of, not necessarily tension, but either resentment or feeling that, why am I with this person?
Do you think it's, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you think it's the person's true colors? Because I don't know if we're supposed to spend 24 hours a day with our partner.
We're not. We're not wired this way, actually. We need some kind of split time. But when we're forced into it, are we somewhat awakened by the reality of how others actually are? And especially your significant other or your family member, your siblings, whatever it is. So have we been blinded all those years and not realizing who is this person in front of us?
I mean, that is definitely a process that some people might have gone through, where you're like, oh my goodness, this is really the person I chose for my life. But I think, you have to look at the other person as a human being. And it's not just, we're spending 24 hours together. It's like that other person is going through fear. Because COVID wasn't just, isolation. It was like fear for your life. How am I going to support my family? How am I going to protect my parents? How am I going to keep my children busy? There's so much to navigate through. And yeah, it would have been great to have had us give each other tools to be like, okay, fine, even if you're in the house, find some time to be alone. Find some time to read a book, or meditate, or play the board games, or go for a walk. But they were taken away from their livelihood and the other schedule that they had, but not provided with a separate system to take care of it. And so then we're just kind of dumped on each other. It's interesting, that's for sure.
Do you feel that now, with everything that we are in the endemic stage from the pandemic, so do you feel that now people are finally out in society, are talking to other people while they were only talking to the people who were surrounding their direct environment at home? And now we are more likely to be able to kind of meet new people and be more, I would say, out there and welcoming new people into our lives. Is that going to change the way that people perceive others?
From the pandemic, now that we're being
out, that we're
out, we're moving past it.
Correct.
I think there is the transition back into society, but I think it's a different society now, because we've been so accustomed to Zoom for communication with work. So many people aren't going back to work because work's finding it more affordable to shut down the office and have everyone work
Absolutely.
remotely. So there's that. There's still, I mean, the pandemic is no longer an issue with restrictions. However, it's still out there. It's still out there. So I'm hoping that people will start off slowly and go from their family to like building friends to the coffee shop, and try, instead of just going big, try to engage in their community more.
Mhm.
Because you can go out far into like the city, like I live in like a suburb, and you go out to the city, you'll see someone once and you can be, you know, you can communicate with that person, or be kind and have a conversation. But if you go a shorter distance and you support your community, like the coffee shop around the corner, you're more likely to go there again and again. And then it's like, hey, suddenly you're like, oh, hi, my name's Hibby, how are you today? And that creates a little, you don't have to be friends and go out to have barbecues all the time, but there's a consistent development of communication and recognition, because I think people have to practice being seen from not just through a screen, and I think children have to face this as well, teenagers, is to actually look at another human being in person and have that human relation, because there's no filter. You have to engage, you have to open yourself up to that, and it's baby steps. And I think that's what it is. It's baby steps, going on walks in your community. If you go at the same time, you're going to see the same people.
Mhm. Correct.
Right? With the, if you have a dog, you'll say, oh, hi, right? Just, start small by saying, like looking up, try to say, I'm not going to be on my phone.
Mhm.
I'm going to put my phone away. If you need to be contactable, sure, put it on vibrate, put it in your pocket, but try your best to really not look at it for that period of time, that 1 hour you go for a walk or whatever you're doing, and try to be present. And I think that's where it is, because we got so scared during the pandemic, and I think, I mean, for myself, I even went through a stage where I couldn't get away from the TV. There was just so much animosity and hatred, and it wasn't, it was people about the pandemic, it was people about the vaccine, it was people about Black Lives Matter, it was the political, it was the gender, it was like, where is the love? This is when we need it the most. And then you get, people, like the amount of deaths in India, the amount of deaths all around the world, and it's just, you're watching it, and that's what I mean when, everyone carries fear in a different way.
Yeah, but then you have fear mongers is going to
Of
transform
course.
anything from the little things into something big. They'll make a mountain out of a molehill. But the thing is, in the media, everyone follows this fear and then start like panicking, and then they go and get toilet paper, so there's no more toilet paper.
Yes.
Again, people are so wired this way. But here's where I can see a major issue, Hibby, is that this is ideal to be able to go to a coffee shop and talk to the person in front of you. This is great for small town USA. But when you go into the big metropolitan areas, Washington,
Yeah.
D.C., New York, LA, people are so cold, like ice. If you address them in any shape or form, they look at you like you're an alien from outer space. So, how can you break that kind of pattern and make people know that, hey, you're just someone friendly and not trying to, or you do not have any ulterior motive? Like now, when you have guys trying to say hello to women think that he's a stalker. So again, this is society, their mind, their behavior, their thought, their belief. Everything is more psychological than anything related to, okay, now it's time to be able to open up, talk to someone, and show them love. It doesn't work this way.
Well, that's why the love bank is anonymous, because it's practicing before you even have to go out there.
Okay.
It's warming your heart, because you can have it on your phone, you can listen, you can say I love you, you can hear the world saying I love you, and then you have to, there is a level of faith, there's a level of, if you want to see the world in a more loving way, then you have to to be that person, like, as Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
You have to open up, you have to be okay that if you want love, that you have to be the first one to take that step, to look up, to smile, to be willing. Because yeah, you may get that 1, 2, 3, the people that look at you and go like, oh, what's wrong with you, right? You gotta like, okay, you can't, I'm not saying, hey, walk up to every single person and say I love you,
Yeah.
but look in them in the eye and smile, because you know what, they're you. They're the exact, they haven't seen that someone take the time to look them in the eye and say, hey, hi, just give them a nod, keep walking. I used to hold up signs, and I still do, where it would say like, and I'd go to this intersection, and when I'm feeling down, I'd be like, it says, I love you. And it says on the other side, it says, no matter what you're going through in the world, remember that it's a loving place. And I know that I would, it was a busy intersection in Vancouver because I'm in British Columbia, and I'd get people that drive by, and some people would honk and wave, and they'd roll down their window and they'd chat with me and like, oh, hi, that's really, thank you, you made my day. And then there'd be people who'd like roll their eyes and drive away. And you know what? I had a decision, and I was like, wow, it's not about me getting love, it's about me giving love.
Mhm.
And I know that that person, regardless, maybe has to hear it 4, 5, 6, 10 times before they're willing to open up their heart, because there's so much clay, there's so much fear, there's so much damage. So it's not like everyone just has this open heart that wants to like burst love out. It takes practice. We've been sheltered from it. So I know that like maybe that person who drove away thought about this fact that there's this crazy woman on the street who's sending love, but maybe they looked at their kid and said, hey, how are you today? Or I love you, which would be fantastic. They don't have to say it to me, I'm a stranger.
Yes.
But if it affected their child or someone in their life, or even the person that might have cut them off, and instead of them hammering the horn, they went, okay, I'm going to be a little more kind. Because we don't know. We can assume, which doesn't always work, how people are going to react. But if you have a faith and belief that, that you're going to do the next right action, that's what we need. We need people to sacrifice maybe being hurt to want to love. And I'm not putting yourself out in risk.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 5 people that do look up, I mean, my heart just blows up, right? I go like, I feel fantastic. I go out and I've gotten even more love. Now I've got their love on top, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And it is, and it's not, you look at like every time I talk to the person who's, on the street, or, where I'm buying my vegetables, or the kids, and, and sometimes I see things, and, I'll get faced with like someone who's angry just because they're angry. It has nothing to do with me. And I'll just say, are you okay? Because gosh, how horrible is it to carry that anger? And it's like putting a pin in a balloon. It just deflates. And they're like, I'm okay. Yeah, sorry. And I'm human, so I'll have it too, where like I'll have a disagreement with my son. I'll pick up the phone. I made a mistake. I didn't book an appointment, or I didn't confirm an appointment, so it got canceled on me. And I pick up. I'm like, well, why is this appointment not here? And they're like, well, you didn't confirm in time. I'm like, really? I hang up, and I'm like, pick up the phone them back. I'm like, I am so sorry. I did not need to be rude. I just, and it could, because I have that awareness, I just had a disagreement, and I'm okay. I'm a human. I just had to disagree with my son, and I took it out on you. And she's like, oh, thank you for calling back. No problem. And she's like, when is the next available time? We have a cancellation. And I'm like, we are responsible for our happiness.
Yes.
We have to take responsibility, and we have to, I think, again, like, this is why I'm so excited to be here today and so grateful for what you do, is because we have to lift the veil that it's still out there. There's nothing missing. It's just, we have to be willing to look for it. We have to know what we want.
Yes, I agree.
Go ahead, please talk to me, Dr. Dan.
The thing is that, a lot of people misconstrued happiness for being a destination and not a journey. Because what I see a lot, Hibby, is that people always feel that, okay, when I make the millions, I'll be happy. When
Mm.
I get my home with a white picket fence, I'll be happy. When I get my 2 luxury exotic cars, I'll be happy. So again, the when is the journey and the happiness is the destination. So why don't you just switch it around? Which means that you make the happiness. So it's like a marathon. The 26.2 miles that people run, the enjoyment is in that 26.2 miles. Now, of course, the result of you finishing the marathon is a sense of accomplishment. So can we say that happiness in itself will be accomplished once you experience the journey of the ups and downs? And people know that happiness is not sustainable. We know that. But the thing is that it's like an EKG, Hibby. It goes up and down. But it's we only feel happiness when we have experienced it down in our lives to be able to at least not take this for granted.
I 100% agree. I do think that there's life is a journey. And like I said, you have to know what you want. But if you know what you want, you have to appreciate and be grateful for every ups and downs that you encounter, because you have to be willing to learn the lesson. That's how we grow. So when you're suffering, you can suffer as long as you want. If you sit there and go, what is my part? Why am I, what happened here? And what is the lesson? Like, you dig deep, you're like, what is the lesson? And as soon as you say, oh my gosh, I actually look the lesson here, the suffering stops and you grow and you move on. And that's life. And but that's what